Hello Figgy Fiends and Collectors, this is me, Daniel East 1000, back again with another video. Today we're going to be talking about the Fan First Friday live stream that Hasbro just did last Friday. I would have talked about this a little bit sooner, but life as always does catch me up. I've finally got time to sit down in front of you guys to talk about those reveals with you today. It was predominantly Black Series and Vintage Collection, so there was nothing other product wise outside that, which was great. Really pleased they did that. It didn't feel like a waste of time because it's stuff that actually interests me, and I'm sure many other collectors as well. Now I think the staggered reveals that they seem to be doing throughout the year is basically following on from form from last year. So with that in mind, I'm not going to be like mopey and miserable like I was in last year's Toy Fair video, because obviously there is no Toy Fairs going on at the moment because of the current situation. This definitely isn't everything they're releasing this year. There's more surprises to come, I'm sure, and I'm here for it given the stuff that they've revealed in this live stream. First and foremost, we'll talk about Vintage Collection because it's the line that I'm personally for the longest time not been that bothered about. I mean, it's been about a year since I bought a Vintage Collection figure, maybe even longer than that. I could go into a big tangent about Vintage Collection, I'm not going to. I'm just going to keep it solely focused on what they announced here, of which I'm sure Vintage Collection collectors are going to be pleased about. They've addressed that they are going to be completing the original 96. So basically the original 96 are the vintage figures. They're basically going to be making them modernised on vintage card. Hopefully that makes sense, so that they are focused on getting them made as soon as possible. Apparently they won't be done this year, but that's a really good thing. That's something I know that vintage collectors have been wanting. They've been wanting the original 96. I think it's very important and good that Hasbro's addressed that. We're getting Princess Leia on Endor, Pat Ploo and AT-ST Driver, which is great, although I'm not too sure how some collectors are going to feel about with that big honking 50th anniversary Lucasfilm logo at the top corner. Those figures are getting made. It's nice to see. I'm happy for them. They also announced something that I'm really pleased about with the live stream that they did. Hasbro last year really felt like they had to show us actual product pictures. I said in my Toy Fair video, I'd just sooner prefer it if they just showed a picture and just said, look, this is a character we're hopefully going to be making. It's in the pipeline. And they've listened to that. So they've announced that they're doing IG-11 in the Vintage Collection and Lando Calrissian. Just by revealing that, they just showed pictures of them, which was well done, Hasbro. You've finally resorted back to what you used to do, which is great. We don't need to see product pictures. You're making that. I now know that. We're informed. Cool. Now I've held these two reveals off because these two are figures that I actually really do want. And this would be pending on the card artwork that they do for Darth Maul and Ahsoka. You got me, Hasbro. I would have loved to see Darth Maul in Black Series. Seeing them two on vintage card, I think I'm going to have to get them just to keep carded. Because I really love that final season of Clone Wars, and I love the Darth Maul and Ahsoka arc from that. There's something different. I can't put my finger on it, but there's something that's like next level with them in terms of 334 inch. Now there are two other figures that are meant to join alongside them in a wave. I've not announced who they are yet. I'm not going to make my predictions because Vintage Collection can be a bit of a hodgepodge of character selection, but I would like to see some more Clone Wars characters on vintage card, so hopefully that's what those two unannounced figures could be. We'll have to wait and see though. Big thumbs up in terms of Vintage Collection. I'm sure most collectors would agree. I just wish they'd sort of reevaluate their figure wave sizes. Moving on to what has become my bread and butter, Star Wars The Black Series. Now prior to the live stream actually happening, I can't remember what website leaked it, but in the morning a website leaked some figures to kind of like drum up attention for that said live stream happening, and they showed off 3 vintage Black Series figures. Personally, I don't really care for these at all, and I probably will not bother getting any of them. Although with that being said, we're getting Obi-Wan, Jawa and Greedo. All these figures are basically on vintage retro cards, and they're in the colour styling of their vintage counterparts. Now, with that being said, Jawa is pretty cool because if you did want to uncard it, you would have like a different Jawa to go with your other Jawas. Different sort of clothing and texture and whatnot. It would be a nice little variation for the Jawas that you have on your shelf. That would match up fairly well on your shelf, I think. Greedo as well. Not really bothered about him, but you could pass him off as a random alien character. Obi-Wan is sort of the more, you can't really pass it off as anything on your display, and you'd look out of place with all your like realistic looking characters. I'm really not bothered about these. Easy pass for me. This one's a bit of a cheeky one. They announced the last figure that we needed announcing for Wave 29. This is, of course, the Hunter, Crosshairs, Asajj Ventress, and Bo-Katan wave of figures. We just needed one more figure announcing. I thought it was going to be Tech, but it's not. The figure that's been included in this wave is a Bad Batch character, but it's the Elite Squad Trooper, which we did see in the latest trailer. So naturally, Hasbro's probably been embargoed with sharing that character until the actual Bad Batch sizzle trailer got revealed. A little bit annoying because I think most people were sort of expecting Tech or Wrecker or even Echo maybe to be in that wave to fit in with those Bad Batch members, but no, it's an Elite Squad troop. I mean, given all the figures in that wave are new, it's fair enough, but just have an additional new figure would have been like chef's kiss. And I mean, this is a new figure, but it's basically, it's going to be a repaint, I'm pretty sure. The Clone Trooper just in black, and I'm pleased I pre-ordered that wave. I'm not going to, obviously cancel my pre-order. It is what it is. It's another clone to add to your ranks. Slightly disappointed, but I'll try not to dwell on it. In terms of the final physical products that Hasbro had to show for us were kind of cool to me. As someone who grew up during the time period that the Phantom Menace was out, the card backs and that whole Darth Maul art style is something that's pretty ingrained in my memory. And to see 6-inch Black Series figures on this style of card, it's kind of an exciting prospect to look at. With that being said, I think some of the choices are a little bit hit and miss. First and foremost, we're getting Battle Droid, of which, from what I can tell of a lot of websites, is the short packed one, oddly, even though it's the one that most people are going to want an army build. I can't tell if there's any paint differences and whatnot with that to the standard release. From what I can see, no. There might be one or two potentially, but it's effectively the same figure. Again, great for army builders. I've already got one, so I'm not too fussed about getting another. Easy skip for me. Jar Jar, why Hasbro? You've only just released the damn thing, and then you're doing another one on a Phantom Menace card. Now that's fair enough because you do it on a Phantom Menace card. What I would have personally liked to see, naturally, it was a little bit cheaper because it's not coming with the same amount of accessories as the standard release. But also, if you included some different accessories or like features to the head sculpt, because I know they did some pretty zany, back when Phantom Menace was out, they had some really zany figure variations and variants. I would have been more on board with this Jar Jar if they gave it like some weird accessories. I can't think off the top of my head, but maybe like an outstretched tongue or something. Just something a little bit different. This also goes with the Mace Windu that they've released for this. I'm sure people missed out on Mace Windu. I didn't. I've got him, so I'm not really bothered about getting this again. What would have maybe piqued my interest in getting him, and this is just to keep him carded, because obviously he doesn't draw his lightsaber in the film and use it. Hasbro just ended up giving a lot of the Jedi random coloured lightsabers. Mace Windu, when he first came out, he had the blue lightsaber. Would have been cool if they packed in 2 lightsabers just as a nod to that. That would have been cool. Hasbro, just give us more accessories. This is like the bottom line. This is one thing that annoys me a touch about Black Series, side note here, is the fact that they don't really think that hard about the accessories. They just go for the obvious thing. What I am happy about, though, is getting Qui-Gon Jinn. And I can tick this off my bingo card, which is... it's a good feeling. And what's great about this one is the fact that it is a repack, but they are tweaking the head sculpt, so it's got the face technology thing going on with it, of which the original didn't, and so I'm kind of glad that I held out on him now. Pretty sure the original release came with like a different posed hand. I don't think they're including that with him, which is like a big boo. Nonetheless though, Qui-Gon is probably the only Black Series figure that I'm going to get on pre-order, just because I've already got that Elite Clone Trooper on pre-order anyway, so that technically counts. But in terms of this, the latest reveals, yeah, he's the only thing that I'm going to be really having on pre-order. It's not bad, it's great for people who missed out on them figures. Now, in terms of figures that Hasbro didn't have on them to show us, they did do the picture thing of showing us what they have in the pipeline. Another one off my bingo card list, Tech. So we are getting him. It was kind of obvious we were getting him, so all we're waiting on for confirmation on now is Wrecker. Aura Singh, which was a character on my top 15 most wanted prequel characters video, which you can give a little watch up there. I'm really surprised that they're doing her this soon, given there's lots of other Phantom Menace and Clone Wars characters that they could do. Nonetheless, you get a big thumbs up from me in terms of that, because we're finally getting some, you know, quirky aliens. Furthermore, from The Mandalorian, we're getting Zero, of which if I could have done a most wanted top 10, top 15 Mandalorian characters that I'd want for the Black Series, that would have definitely been in that list, so I've kind of got to rework that now if I ever do a video like that. But nonetheless, Zero, that gets a big thumbs up from me. We're also getting Cosca Reeves, who's going to accompany Bo-Katan greatly. Another one that's on my most wanted Star Wars The Black Series list for the original trilogy, Lando Calrissian, but in his general gear from Return of the Jedi, so that's incredible. 5 figures, but I'm sure there's probably going to be more that Hasbro are going to be announcing throughout the year. But they're 5 really interesting figures that they're releasing. Definitely going to have some unique sculpts, features, and hopefully accessories as well. I'm really impressed with what they've announced, and it's given me a lot of hope as to what they could be announcing throughout the year. There's plenty of things they can do, but this live stream they've done was a pretty big surprise for me in terms of what they did show off, and I'm pretty damn happy with it. My wallet's happy because there wasn't a hell of a lot there for us to pre-order after it. Nonetheless though, Hasbro do seem like they are addressing things, which is really good. Particularly on the Walmart debacle that's been happening with a lot of collectors in the US. I can't really vouch on that end as a UK citizen, but yeah, it's kind of crappy what happened to collectors with that, and yeah, hopefully Hasbro resolves that. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and I'll be seeing you very soon. This is me, Daniel 1000, signing out.